Hey, we're the Aha guys on location at Chaotic Con in Wisconsin, Green Bay. I said that backwards, but whatever. And today I'm joined by Andrew Love.
Hello.
How you doing today? Oh, even though we already asked that.
Yeah, I'm doing great. It's a lot colder here than it is in Texas. But it's not as cold as it was when I came back here a year ago in February when it was like -20. So 40 degrees is actually really nice.
Yeah. I've been in the -20 weather.
A Texas boy like me doesn't know what to do. It's like, how many pairs of socks do I need to wear?
What was it like working on Book of Ventura?
Oh, that was a lot of fun. I had kind of a weird task to start a character as one person and then ultimately become a different person, but it's still the same character. Wait, is that? Yeah. Like, to be inhabited by somebody else. It's like having the Force and being the dark side of it, and then the light side of it overpowers the dark side, and then you're the light side for the rest of it. That was a lot of fun and challenging. Another character that, it's kind of, I play a lot of somewhat Han Solo-esque characters where they start out and you're not really sure who they are, if they're good guys or bad guys, and then ultimately they become good guys, or they do something self-sacrificial. And so it was a lot of fun. Good. And that's a really cool series.
Good. Yeah. What was it like working on Batum?
Batum. Really enjoyed working on Batum. That's what I consider my Milhouse's dad impersonation. And
I'm sorry, that cracked me up.
Can I borrow a feeling? I went to a premiere of it at the Alamo Drafthouse in Houston, and it had been a while since I'd seen it. And that was co-directed, Stephen Foster and Leraldo. It was actually kind of his first foray, and then he went on to do Upote. Excuse me. So we went to the Alamo Drafthouse, and we were watching it, and I knew my character was coming up, but I totally forgot that my character starts with a fart. And so you're sitting in a theater with all these people, and it's nerve-wracking as it is to hear your own voice when you're by yourself, like watching it at home. But to be in a theater with all of these people, and you're like, oh, I hope it sounds good, and I hope they enjoy it. And then you see my character, and it's like and just the whole theater erupts in laughter. I'm like, okay, all right, this is going to be good. And it starts out as something, and then ultimately becomes something very, very different. His character arc, and I really, really enjoyed it. It actually has kind of a bittersweet transition. So, yeah, I really like that show.
Good. What was it like working on a Coyote Ragtime show? That's going back a little while. Yeah. A little bit, just a little bit.
That was a very, very interesting situation. It was the very first time I had played a black guy. And since that show, I've played numerous, at first, it was a situation where they couldn't find someone to kind of fit that character voice, the sound, and so it's something that I jumped in, and I was afraid that it was going to come off somewhat racist in a way, but I think it's done in such a way that it's not. It's just specific to that character.
It was tasteful.
It's tasteful, yes, yes. And because of that, I was able to do Mr. Fide for One Piece, and then Jerzo for Full Metal Alchemist. So it was something that was intimidating to begin with that ultimately led to other things. So it was really cool.
Good. What was it like working on Needless?
Needless. There were a couple of moments when I had to kind of facepalm and just go, whoa. That was another character he's a badass, but he's also kind of goofy. I think that I got to play opposite of Emily in that as well. I think. I could be wrong though. But it was fun. Very rarely do I have an experience where I'm like, no, this is bad. Actually, I don't think that there's ever been an experience where I had that reaction. But the Medaka box would probably be the one where I was like really, really nervous about it.
What was it like working on Hakioki?
That was amazing. Working with Chris Ayres is an absolute treat. The guy is so passionate about every show that he works on. And to do something with historical ties is also really, really cool. And the whole story of the Shinsengumi, it's epic. And it was also an opportunity to play against David Wald, as we were just really, really good friends. And that relationship is, I'm not working with him in the booth at the time, but to be able to play off of him and then see the final product, it's so great. And actually, David and I, we actually go up for a lot of the same roles. When we did Halo Legends, I actually got to read for Master Chief and audition for it. And it ultimately, went to David, which it should have because he's got that gravel, but it was like, oh, I almost got to play Master Chief.
This is one of my personal favorites. What was it like working on Pony Pony Dash?
Oh,
It's one of my favorites because
yeah.
it's one of the few animes that you replaced a character halfway through the series, and they acknowledged the fact that the voice changed.
Yeah.
And the excuse was, new helmet, which I thought was just beautiful.
Yeah. That was a trip. It's always interesting. There have been other situations where things like that have kind of happened and they've had to replace, and it doesn't always work. But I think that was a nice little like wink nudge to fix it. And I also got to play Yankee, which was one of my favorite characters, 'cause he talks like this, and that's a lot of fun.
What was it like working on High School of the Dead?
High School of the Dead, another really, really cool show. And a very sexy show at the same time. Not that Undead is sexy. Anyways, no, but it's, the guy that I played he was just so authoritative and it's like, I'm going to save humanity. And just, another self-sacrificial character. But I don't know. It was a great cast and a great time.
What was it like working on Golgo 13?
Ah, yes, Golgo. I really, really enjoyed Golgo because David Wald was the main guy. Another one that I read against him. But it was basically each episode is a completely different story. So it's not this long arc with this one dude. Well, it is. His character, but not the same players. It's each episode was 5 to 10 new characters, so it gave a lot of the actors the opportunity to play a lot of different characters, a lot of things that weren't necessarily that we would ever be cast as, but because they were so small, we could kind of experiment and try different things. So we got to play just a huge range of characters, just all throughout that show. It's a lot of fun.
Good. Is there anything coming out that you would like to plug, or something that might have recently come out that you'd like to plug?
From the New World, the first half of it just came out, and I've watched the first disc of it, and it initially it's kind of like what's going on, but by the time you get to episode 4, you are just hook, line, sinker, and I actually show up in the second half. And it is a phenomenal show. And my wife plays the lead, and that's always exciting. And I got to play opposite of her again. Anytime that happens, we always get really excited because sometimes when we're recording, one of us will inevitably record before the other, and we'll leave jokes, and they won't leave it in. But they'll have a scratch track where the other person's going in to record, and Emily or myself will leave a joke for the other person, and it's always we're listening, and then all of a sudden, like a fart sound, or we're like, hey, wait a minute, and just lose it in the booth. So, yeah.
We'd like to thank you again for joining us today.
Well, thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's a real pleasure.
Well, it's a pleasure here, too.
We're the Ohio Guys. I'm Mike. He's Andrew. And we'll see you next time.